Pioneer Floor Heating is equipped with 45 years of experience in the design, manufacturing of heating systems, assembly as well as sub-assembly of floor heating units. We offer over 50 models of professionally manufactured EFD-coated floor heating models to cater for your specific and individual floor heating need. All product manufactured and supplied by Pioneer Floor Heating conforms to the SABS standards of approval, as well as ISO standards, SABS 0142 wiring code compliant. Selecting the correct heater for the application and the room size is a science rather than just filling a portion of the floor with heating element. An industry standard of 80 to 100 watts per square meter is used to calculate the power output in kilowatt required to heat a room effectively. It is important to remember influencing factors like sizes of windows, ceiling heights, double volumes, and whether rooms are facing north or south, which will all have an impact on the wattage per square meter required to heat your room effectively. Example, a 3 by 5 meter room, which equals 15 square meters at 100 watts a square meter, will require 1.5 kilowatts worth of heating. This will amount to a floor coverage and heating element of plus minus 65 to 75% of the available floor area. Never install a heater which is too small for the area, as it will not have the capacity to increase the room temperature to the set temperature on the thermostat, resulting in prolonged duty cycles with horrific running cost implications. Rather refer to the reverse side of the Pioneer Floor Heating DIY kit and refer to the color-coded selection table as to ensure that you have chosen the correct size heater and power rating for the room you intend heating. Floor heating, and particularly electrical-based floor heating, is the most cost-effective and economical way to create a comfortable room temperature throughout the year. Floor heating creates an even distribution of heat throughout the floor surface, resulting in a consistently comfortable and even room temperature, which is slightly warmer at the feet and colder at the head and shoulders, in comparison to traditional heating systems, which creates unhealthy pockets of hot and cool air, resulting in a cool, unhealthy draft throughout the room. Managing your Pioneer floor heating system as effective as possible. Floor heating, like geyser systems, work exceptionally hard from the startup point, up until the point where radiant heat admission takes place and the system reaches the point that it can start regulating at the selected thermostat temperature. With tile heating, during the warm-up phase, energy is consumed by the floor and screed surface until a certain point where energy is radiated from the floor surface to increase the ambient room temperature, thus meaning that the floor heating should rather be switched on and left on during winter as to eliminate the costly startup phase. If you have a proper system installed, the system will only work for approximately 7 to 8 hours out of a 24-hour cycle once it reaches the regulating phase. Individual thermostats can be turned down slightly from 22 to 15 degrees when the room is not being utilized, but you should never allow tile heating to cool down totally if the room is not being frequently used. Your Pioneer Floor Heating DIY kit consists out of the following items. Number 1, Pioneer under tile heater. Number 2, installation monitor. Number 3, fiberglass mesh. Number 4, floor primer. Number 5, tile cement additive. Number 6, trunking, electric cord and 3-pin plug. All heater applications are covered with a thin layer of rapid set tile adhesive mixed with water and tile cement additive. The following items are not included in the kit. The thermostat, rapid set tile adhesive. Please refer to the sidebar of the box for the quantity based upon the heater selection. The Pioneer DIY floor heating system is easily installed through the following 4 steps. After evaluating the floor surface needs to be swept. The floor is painted and prepared with a bonding liquid. The layout of the floor heating system is done. Mesh and screed. Planning and preparation. Your DIY floor heating heater can be very easily manipulated in accordance with the usage and the layout of the room. Typically 4 different types of room layouts are identified and heaters are laid out in accordance with furniture spacing in those areas. 4 different applications are living area, kitchens, bathrooms, bedrooms. Living areas. Generally, living areas are found with furniture spaced on the sides of the room, therefore the heater is placed in the center part of the area. Kitchens. Floor heating heaters manipulated around island areas and not under cupboard areas. Bathrooms. Bathrooms are generally covered 95% of the actual floor area around toilets, showers and baths. Bedrooms. Identify the position of the bed and spread the heater around the actual bed area. For your DIY floor heating installation, select the appropriate electrical point to be used. Make a recess in the floor surface for the cold lead connection or blocks of the heater. From the side of the electrical point, draw a line to the floor surface. Measure 10 cm to the side away from the electrical point. Measure a square on the floor surface of 8 cm by 8 cm. Using a hammer and a chisel, make a recess of ±5 mm deep in the floor surface. Use the cold leads to assess the depth of the recess. The cold leads has to be sunken into the floor surface as to ensure no undulation on the floor surface, which could create a level problem with the tiling application. The cleaning process. Ensure that floor surfaces are clean, dry and free from any plaster or paint that could compromise the bonding of the heater application to the floor surface. Planning the layout of your heater. For the purpose of the video, a typical living room, dining room layout was chosen. The heater is placed ±600 mm away from all walls and positioned in the center part of the room where you will be in contact with the floor surface. Living areas and dining rooms generally have furniture located against the walls. A block with measurements of ±600 mm away from the wall is defined on the floor surface. From your DIY kit, the floor primer is used to paint and cover the area where the heater will be affixed. The area between the square and the heater cold lead recess in the floor surface is also covered for the return wires. The quantity of floor primer supplied is more than adequate for the size heater found in the floor heating kit. Should small quantities of floor primer be left over, it can be disregarded. Allow adequate drying time, ± 30 minutes. Installing the heater element. In order to install the heater, sections of the element will be dismantled from the double-sided tape in order to run a section of element from the electrical connection point from where the element will be laid out in its pre-jigged format. Remove the masking tape on the heater edges to to loosen the heater and remove the blue cold lead from the inner tube. Excess double-sided tape from the dismantled sections of the heater will be used to secure the cold leads and the blocks in the recess. Using the blue cold lead, start at the electrical point and secure the blocks neatly into the recess. Identify the furthest point in the room from the electrical connection and dismantle sufficient element by tearing the double-sided tape to run a single length of element on the 600mm defined barrier to the furthest point in the room. Ensure that the single length of element is properly tensioned and secured to the floor surface with the double-sided tape up to the furthest point. It is at all times imperative that a 50mm spacing between the element is maintained and that the element is never allowed to cross or touch one another when finally installed, as this will create hot spots on the floor and the element will burn off in this area. If at the furthest end you have any excess element left, spin it in the same format as the pre-jigged heater in the same configuration as indicated on the video. The heater application can be done by one person as done in the video, but a helping hand will make things a lot easier. Secure the edges of the pre-jigged heater to the floor surface. Roll out the heater element to the edge of the defined area, remembering the 50mm spacing between the single length of element and the pre-jigged heater. Decide in which loop to tear the double-sided tape as to turn the heater 180 degrees without crossing the single length of element. Repeat the process until you have completed all the full-length applications. The remaining portion of the heater will be dismantled and spun as a return lead to the original electrical point. Now that the layout has been completed, secure the heater to the floor surface by removing all the backing on the double-sided tape and ensuring that the heater tension and spacing is maintained throughout the application. Secure all the full-length sections, then attend to the return lead. Take the brown cold lead and block back to the electrical connection point. Secure it neatly in the recess as indicated. Spin the remaining element in the same format as the pre-jig sections. Maintain a 50mm spacing between the lengths of element until the excess has been used. Connecting the monitor unit. The supplied monitor unit measures continuity and resistance in the element during the tiling phase. Should something go wrong and the element is damaged, an alarm will sound. In the event that this happens, you should stop tiling immediately and contact the Pioneer helpline for assistance. The number is located on the reverse side of the monitor unit. Measure the desired length of the cold leads to just above the plug point. Cut the leads to the correct length. Strip the edges to expose the copper center. Connect the black lead from the monitor unit to the blue lead from the heater, as well as a brown lead from the monitor and heater together. The green earth lead from the monitor unit in a dry application like this one can be disregarded. Dry applications meaning heater installations in all areas excluding bathrooms. At this point the monitor alarm should be silent and the red light on the monitor should not be illuminated. Ensure that the connections don't touch one another. Bathrooms. For these applications, a multi-strand earth shielded heater with a set of earth leads will be used and connected to the earth wire from the monitor unit. In the heater package, a comprehensive tiling instruction is included. All the relevant points should be communicated to your tiler as to eliminate any possible damage that could take place. In your package, sufficient fiberglass-based mesh is supplied to cover the entire heater as well as the blocks. One side of the mesh is self-adhesive and should face down. Roll the mesh off to the correct length and cut to size as to ensure a minimum of a 10 mm overlap on the mesh joints as well as the 600 mm outside perimeter. Sweep the mesh as to smooth out the surface before applying the screed. As previously mentioned, a rapid set tile adhesive mixture is applied to the heater, covering the entire heater surface and blocks. Refer to the sidebar of the DIY kit for the ratio of tile adhesive to water mixture required for the specific size heater you're installing. In your kit, a container of tile cement additive is included. Add the entire container to the tile cement and water and then mix until smooth. Apply the screed mixture to the heater and mesh. Spread it evenly, ensuring proper coverage and a smooth finish. Bubbles can be cut open with a sharp knife and evened out. Connecting the thermostat. For standard retrofit applications, a normal analog thermostat will be used. Should your electrician have made provision for floor heating points, 4x4 as well as 2x4 models with built-in isolator switches are available. Digital programmable models are also available. Consult your dealer or contact the Pioneer Floor Heating Helpline for further advice. Connect the plug supply lead to the plug as per the normal plug connections, live to live, neutral to neutral, and earth to earth. On the thermostat, 3 wires are located: red, black and yellow. Red, which is the thermostat live, that should be connected to the brown, which is the live on the supply from the plug lead. Black, which is a neutral from the thermostat, which is connected to the blue cold lead, neutral, from the heater, as well as the blue neutral from the supply lead. As previously discussed, disregard the earth supply from the supply lead for dry applications. Yellow, which is the live from the thermostat that should be connected to the brown cold lead from the heater, which is the heater live. The above connection should be done by crimping the joints together with the supplied ferrules and should be insulated with heat shrink. For wet applications, duplicate the standard connections and now connect the green earth from the heater element directly to the green and yellow earth from the supply wire. Connecting the thermostat to the wall. Once the wiring is done, as demonstrated, decide on the thermostat height according to the cut length of the cold leads during the installation. Generally, thermostats are placed at plug point height. Thermostat consists of a thermostat module and base plate and is dismantled as shown. The base plate is mounted against the wall at the required height.